I love Oscar Wilde, me. The History Corner. Oscar Wilde was born on the 16th of October 1854 at 21 West Westland Row in Dublin. He was the second of three children born to Anglo-Irish couple Jane Nielgi and Sir William Wilde. He was gifted academically, particularly in the subjects of classics, in which he ranked fourth in the school in 1869. He was excellent at giving translations of Greek and Latin texts, which won him multiple prizes. His excellence in these fields would lead to him winning a scholarship to the Royal School to Trinity in 1871. During the summer, he would holiday at Moytura House, sorry if I've mispronounced that, which his father had built in Cong, County Mayo. There, Wilde would spend time playing with his siblings, being his brother and sister. His sister, Isola, sadly passed away at a young age of 9 due to meningitis. Wilde would write the poem Requiescat in her memory. In the early 1870s, Oscar was then studying in Oxford, again exceeding in his studies, and a little known fact about Oscar is that he was a Freemason and got to the level of Master Mason in the Lodge at Oxford. However, his membership ended after he left Oxford University. In 1883, he spent a short time in New York for the production of his first play, Vera, as it had been turned down in London. By 1884, he was living in London with his family and wife, Constance Lloyd, at number 34 Tite Street in Chelsea. By the 1890s, Oscar's written works that we know so well today had earned him a reputation and fame, even doing tours and live talks about his work. Some of his most famous works include The Portrait of Dorian Gray, The Importance of Being Earnest, Lady Windermere's Fan, and Salem, An Ideal Husband, The Happy Prince and Other Tales, consisting of 9 fairy tales. However, his world would come crashing down around him. In 1891, he was introduced to Lord Bosie Douglas and soon started an affair. It is believed that Oscar had known about his sexuality back when he was studying in Oxford. However, the evidence is scarce, but it is widely believed. In 1894, writer Robert Hitchens wrote the novel The Green Carnation, and is believed to be based upon the relationship between Bosie and Oscar, and was even used against Oscar in court in 1895. Bosie is described as a spoiled, reckless, insolent, and extravagant. He would spend money on London rent boys and gambling in abundance. He often would expect Oscar to support him in these endeavours financially. Their arguments were explosive, and they broke up on several occasions, however would soon get back together. Bosie's father was John Sholto Douglas, 9th Marquis of Queensberry. He was a Scottish nobleman and was extremely outspoken, brutish and atheist. So brutish was his manner that it gave rise to the name Queensberry Rules that formed the very basis of modern boxing. Bosie's father was the core factor in Oscar's arrest. Queensberry was not popular in London and his political career didn't last long either. He was rejected from the House of Lords due to his brutality and using such phrases as Christian tomfoolery when they wanted him to take the oath of allegiance. His other son Francis would be sworn into the House of Lords, which created resentment from his father. Francis would die young in 1894. It was officially due to a shooting accident. However, it is believed this could have been suicide. In February of 1895, Queensberry had become more and more angry at the apparent relationship between Oscar and his other son, Bosie. Queensberry left a calling card at Oscar's club, saying, "For Oscar Wilde posing as a sodomite." The trial soon began on the 3rd of April 1895 at the Old Bailey, and Oscar was eventually sentenced to 2 years hard labour for gross indecency. Oscar would be released 2 years later, a broken man. He went to Paris, where he would pass away on the 30th of November 1900. He was initially buried in the Cemetery de Bonneux outside Paris. If I pronounce that wrong, terribly sorry once again. However, in 1909 was transferred to P. Lachaise Cemetery inside the city. Again, probably pronounced that wrong, terribly sorry. In 2011, the tomb was cleaned, as a tradition of going to the tomb and kissing it with lipstick on had begun. It caused much damage and corrosion to the stonework, so a glass barrier has been installed to stop further damage caused to Oscar Wilde's tomb. The history that I've just given there is but a short version of what happened to Oscar and Bosie. Oscar suffered greatly in prison for those 2 years. Victorian hard labour really was what it says in the title. They would stand barefooted on a wooden wheel and push it with their feet bare for hours on end. It did nothing. It wasn't meant to do anything. And they would also have a crank that they would have to twist, a sort of box. It would be twisting. And it would get harder and harder to twist as you went on, and they had to do that thousands of times a day. Prison life for Oscar ruined him, and he really was broken when he came out. I do start again. I do hope that you enjoyed that little short version of the history of Oscar Wilde, Bosie, and the Lord Marquis even. I do struggle pronouncing some words, don't I? But I do hope you enjoyed it. This man has been an inspiration to me since I was very young. This is actually his complete works here, and it's worth buying, every word of it. He was extremely brilliant. Oscar poked fun at the very society that he was in. Come closer, please. At the very society that he was in. And that's what made his plays so fantastic. He would mock society, poke fun at them, in the importance of being earnest especially. I think Oscar also wrote Dorian Gray for a very specific reason. The masks that people wear. Perfect on the outside, but in that painting lies a demon. And I think that's what is so fantastic about his work. I also love his bravery, because in that court case, he actually spoke about the love that dare not speak its name in front of everyone in that courtroom. Meaning there was no denial. He said it himself. I think that speaks a lot for Oscar and his personality. Even when he was exiled to France, he still had his troubles. Whenever a French or Englishman would see him, he would have a situation where they would mock him. And there is a great scene in the biopic by Rupert Everett, and I really recommend seeing it. I am going to put trailers to 2 films that I think should be seen if you want to learn about Oscar's history. Wilde with Stephen Fry, and if there's one man you can trust with the history of Oscar Wilde, it's Stephen Fry, and Rupert Everett's The Happy Prince. So, Wilde, which is with Stephen Fry, follows Oscar on his journey to being arrested, and just when he gets out of prison, and The Happy Prince follows Oscar mainly after he's got out of prison and what he did afterwards. Really recommend. I will put both trailers in the description below. But this scene out of Rupert Everett's Happy Prince shows what he was up against.
You've taken everything! My family, my work, my freedom, everything! There's nothing left to take!
I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I dedicate this video to Oscar Wilde and all of his surviving descendants. Please like and subscribe for more videos. I am trying to do 2 or 3 a week, mixed with work, mixed with uni. Yay. So, but I enjoy doing them, and I've enjoyed this video immensely. Oscar Wilde will always be an inspiration to me. I really recommend looking more in depth into his story. There is a lot there. I've only got a certain amount of time to do these videos, but I really hope that this has given you a brief understanding of who the man was, why he is still such an inspiration, and in the words of Oscar Wilde, I applaud you on the success of your performance. And I shall see you in the next video. Stay positive. Tatty bye. Toodaloo.